Hi everybody, this is Ali Asfour and Niran Diya. Today we're gonna present subject and verb. There is a relationship between the subject and the verb. What is this relationship? Let's take an example. Martin loves his mother. We notice that when the subject Martin is singular, we have a singular form of the verb, loves. What if we have a plural form of the subject? Men love their wives, so we have a plural form of the verb too. This is called the subject-verb relationship. The subject-verb relationship is described by saying that the noun is tied to the verb, or we can say the noun agrees with the verb. It's easily noticed how the subject Martin is tied to the verb loves, and the other subject man is tied to the other verb love. This process can be used to identify the subject, so we give it the name, the tie test, or the agreement test. We have another way to identify the subject. Ask who or what of the verb. We use who with people and use what with things and stuffs. Martin loves his mother, so we can ask by who loves his mother. The answer is Martin. Martin is the subject. For example, the text was lost. What was lost? So here, text is the subject. In exercise 14.10, we should change the subject from plural to singular and make necessary changes in the verb. Number 1, cats purr. The subject is cats. It becomes the cat purrs. Number 2, students study. It becomes the student studies. While in exercise 14.11, we should reverse the process. We should change the subject from singular to plural. Number 1, the cat prowls. It becomes cats prowl. Number 2, the professor teaches. It becomes professors teach.
The noun or phrase have more than just a word, so we should decide which word should have this relationship with the verb, right? And the simple answer to this question is the head of the noun or phrase. Let's take an example. My lovely friend is married. Let's analyze this sentence. It is of two parts. My lovely friend is the noun or phrase and the subject of the sentence. Is married is the verb phrase and the predicate of the sentence. In this sentence, the head of the noun phrase, friend, is the subject that is tied to the verb is. Let's take another example. The students of my college are respectful. It is of two parts. The students of my college is the noun phrase and the subject of the sentence. Are respectful is the verb phrase and the predicate of the sentence. The head of the noun phrase, students, is the subject that is tied to the verb are. In the previous examples, there was only one single verb. What if the verb is preceded by auxiliaries? Let's take an example. My best friend is visiting Paris next week. We have two verbs here. The auxiliary verb is and the main verb visiting. The subject, friend, is tied to the auxiliary verb is. Another example. Ali has been working for more than 9 years. Ali is the subject and is tied to the auxiliary verb has. If we change the subject from singular to plural, the verb will change. It will be like, they have been working for more than 9 years. When the subject changes from singular form Ali to the plural form they, the verb changes from singular form has to plural form have. There are some difficulties in the subject-verb relationship. We will study them one by one. The first difficulty is that modal auxiliary. like can, could, will, would, should, have the same form throughout the singular and plural. For example, a man can shine if he has the will. Man can shine if they have the will. We note that can didn't change throughout the singular and plural form. To distinguish whether a noun is plural or singular, we should remove the modal auxiliary. It will be like, a man shines if he has the will. Man shine if they have the will. Here the verb shine is tied to the subject and changed throughout the singular and plural form. The second problem is that the past form of verbs has no singular plural change of form that can show a subject-verb type. For example, a man sang beautifully. Man sang beautifully. The verb is the same for both man and man. So, what's the solution? We should change the verb to the present tense. It will be like, a man sings beautifully. Man sang beautifully. We note that the subject man is tied to the verb sings and man tied to the verb sing.
Another difficulty is when the modal auxiliary is accompanied by not. For example, that white girl cannot swim, and those white girls cannot swim. The verb can shows no singular or plural change that can show a subject-verb tie. It's can for both singular and plural. So we should omit the modal auxiliary and substitute do or does. It will become, the white girl doesn't swim. Those white girls don't swim. Here, the subject girl is tied to the verb does, and the other subject girls is tied to the verb do. Another difficulty is with the questions that start with a question word like who, what, or which. For example, what is her name? What are their names? We notice that what has the same form with both singular and a plural. In addition, we can notice that the noun name is tied to the verb is, and the noun names is tied to the verb are. Now let's answer these questions. What is her name? Her name is Sandy. What are their names? Their names are Sandy and Martin. Now let's change the question into a noun object clause and let's see what will happen. What is her name? It becomes, I know what her name is. Therefore, since name immediately precedes the verb of the noun object clause, we say that name is the subject of the verb in the original sentences. Thanks for watching. In case you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask.